This week, not one, but two Hunter Biden business associates are on the hot seat. First up today, Mervyn Yan, a former business partner of Hunter Biden, sat behind closed doors with House Republicans. This is part of the House impeachment inquiry into President Biden. Yan worked with Hunter Biden through the Chinese energy company CEFC and Hudson West 3. In November, the House Oversight and Judiciary Committees had subpoenaed Yan, writing the following to Yan's lawyer, quote, President Biden has received money originating from China via James and Hunter Biden, individuals with whom your client has previously engaged in business. James Biden maintained a business relationship with Hunter Biden, and the two engaged in several business deals, including a deal with CEFC, which is closely tied to the Chinese Communist Party. A $40,000 check was issued by Sarah Biden from a personal bank account to Joe Biden, using proceeds derived from an entity affiliated with CEFC. The committees seek additional information from your client about his relationships, end quote. And tomorrow, another Hunter Biden business associate gets his turn. He will likewise answer questions behind closed doors. His name is Rob Walker. Walker worked on a joint venture called Sinohawk Holdings in a partnership with CEFC. Those interviews come ahead of Hunter Biden's deposition, which is scheduled for February. Chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan, joins me. Good evening, sir.
Good to be with you, Greta.
What are you learning from these, at least from the first one?
Well, I don't get into too much of what happens in these depositions until the transcript's actually public, but we're working through them all. As you pointed out, next week, tomorrow we got Rob Walker. Next week we got Eric Schwerman, Tony Bobolinsky. In between Bobolinsky and Hunter Biden, we're actually going to talk to Jim Biden. So we think it's important to work through all these and then make a decision on whether we're actually going to have articles of impeachment. This is part of our impeachment inquiry. I think the evidence thus far is pretty compelling, particularly when you look at how the interaction Hunter Biden and Joe Biden had with this company in Ukraine, this Ukrainian energy company, Burisma, and what took place there. So we're going to finish this, and then we'll make a decision as a conference.
You know, obviously it's follow the money, always in all these cases.
Yep.
Are you satisfied that you've gotten all the documents from all the banks? And I imagine that's sort of a hard thing to sort through.
Yeah, it is. But you have again the $40,000 you pointed out that was in our correspondence with Mr. Yan. That was 10% of the $400,000 that was paid into Hunter Biden's account, and then $40,000 winds up in Sarah Biden's account, and then ultimately to
Can you correct something for me? Is it Sarah Biden took out of her her account with her husband? They have a business thing, $40,000.
Yeah.
Then it appears, at least from the reports, that several hours later she then paid the $40,000. She says it's a loan.
Yeah.
Was there a delay in time? Because I always thought that's peculiar, because nobody draws $40,000 out and sort of sits around all day long and then pays something up. Because
Right.
usually, if you're drawing $40,000, if you're paying down something, you do it right away, electronically, or even if you're in the bank.
Yeah. No, I thought the same thing. That those are some of the things we're gonna dig into as we talk to all these people. And again, I think Jim Biden is scheduled for the 21st or 22nd of next month. And we sort of like the way this is sequenced out, because Hunter Biden will be sort of the last individual we'll talk to as far as all the people that he was engaged in business with.
Can you? It's quite obvious Hunter Biden's sort of a rogue fellow. He's got drug, alcohol. He's dealing in lots of money, lots of countries that are not friendly to the United States. Have you been able, other than that $40,000, to tie anything to the President of the United States?
Well, again, I go back to Burisma, and I always point out sort of fundamental facts with this. And this is a while back, but remember four key facts. Hunter Biden gets put on the board of Burisma. Fact number 2, he's not qualified. He said so himself in an interview with ABC News. Fact number 3, Hunter Biden is asked specifically by the guys that run Burisma, Zolochevsky and Pizarski. He's asked specifically, can you help us deal with the pressure we are under from the prosecutor in Ukraine? Hunter Biden immediately, according to Devin Archer, his partner, when we deposed him a few months back, Hunter Biden calls D.C., calls his father. 3 days later, his father gets on, then Vice President Biden gets on a plane, goes to Kyiv, and uses our tax money, leverages American tax dollars, conditions the release of that money on the firing of the prosecutor who's applying the pressure to the company Hunter Biden sits on the board of, namely Burisma. Those facts, that all happened, and then all those facts are corroborated by what the confidential human source told the FBI, and they recorded in the now famous 1023 form, the same form that, by the way, Chris Wray didn't want to let us see. In fact, in that document, Shokin's name, the prosecutor who was applying the pressure, who Biden gets fired by leveraging our tax money, Shokin is mentioned 10 times in that document about applying the pressure. Don't worry, Hunter Biden and his dad will take care of things for us. This is all the comments that are made in that document. I think that's pretty compelling, particularly when there's been news accounts that said, Joe Biden goes over there, he calls an audible on the plane ride over to say we're going to condition the release of American tax dollars on the firing of this prosecutor. What caused him to change? Because that wasn't the position of the government, the State Department, of the administration at the time. What condition? I think it's the call he received from his son just a few days before.
You know what I've thought is odd and peculiar, and I haven't seen anyone dig into it, is that at the time that he was on Burisma, on the board, he was of counsel to Boyce Schiller, a law firm. It's the same time that Judge Tanya Chutkan, who's now the federal judge in the case here against Trump, she was a partner there. And I'm not suggesting anything sinister between them, but it has the appearance of impropriety. For the life of me, I don't understand why she didn't recuse herself based on. I know there's some of her rulings that I don't like as well, but everything's a little too cozy.
Yeah, well, that's sort of this town, particularly when it seems to me when you're talking about Democrats and the way they've attacked President Trump over the last 7 years. So I think that's. When you step back, I think this case is pretty basic. It's a politician taking certain actions that benefit his family, and then there's an effort to conceal it. And the effort to conceal it is David Weiss and how he handled the investigation. Namely, when he let the statute of limitations expire for the key tax years, when Hunter Biden got a boatload of money from Burisma. Those are the tax years that the Weiss prosecution, their team said, we're gonna let them lapse. Even though they got a tolling agreement, Hunter Biden's lawyer said, no, we'll toll the statute. They go ahead and let it lapse at some point. I think it's because, it's one thing to charge Hunter Biden with a gun charge in Delaware. It's another thing to charge him on felony tax charges for the year he's receiving money from Burisma. That kind of connects you to the White House, and I think they wanted to try to avoid that. So that, to me, is the age-old pattern, a tale as old as time. Politician does things, it benefits his family financially, and then there's an effort to conceal it and sweep it under the rug.